Hey guys, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do my favorite brushes. I have a whole bunch of brushes that I always like to use. Some new ones, some old ones, and I'm just gonna get started and show you some of my favorites. We're gonna start off with eye brushes. Eye brushes, I think they have to be perfect. Other than that, like, you can get things that don't look the way you want them to. So these are some of my favorites so far. I'm gonna start off with the 242. The 242 is an awesome brush. It is going to be a very dense little shader brush. This one is great for doing very precise work around the eyelid, and then also you can use the tip of it to do some crease work as well. That's why I like this brush, because it's not too fluffy, but it's also not the most dense. It is pretty dense, so you can really pack with it, but this one is just great. So that's what is the first shader brush. The next one is going to be the 217. I feel like this one is everyone's favorite brush. It's super fluffy, super great. It's a little bit in the more expensive range, but I think it's a really good basic brush to start off with, because you can blend with it and you can also apply and pack powder on with it. The next is going to be the 224. The 224 is going to be a very big fluffy brush. Great for blending out crease work, great for softening up edges, anything like that. 224 is fantastic for. The next one is a multi-purpose. This one is the 286. 286 is a dual fiber eye brush. I use it for a whole bunch of different things. It's great for using it underneath the eye for concealer, also for putting on your eye primer like a paint pot or anything, blending it out quite nicely and smoothly. And this one also does, when it's like nice and dry, it tapers down to a very precise point, so it's really good for blending out very thin crease work, versus like the 224, which gets super thick. You can't really see that, but it doesn't come down to a pointed tip, so you get a little bit more precision with the duo fiber. And then the last eye brush is going to be the Hourglass number 4. This one is a newer brush to me. I've fallen in love with it. I've fallen in love with all of the Hourglass brushes that I've ever used. Just because it's a synthetic fiber, but it feels extremely natural. The reason being is it's not just a regular synthetic fiber that they just pack into a brush. The tips of it are all laser cut, so they feel extremely soft and smooth, and they pick up powder better than any other synthetic that I've ever found, just because it's just like that extra soft touch of the bristle. This one is technically a crease brush, but sometimes I feel like it's a little thick to blend out a crease. If it's a more natural look, it's fantastic. But what I love this for is like putting in highlight in the tear duct or contouring the nose. It's perfect for contouring the nose. It's nice, it's a synthetic brush, so you can use it with creams, liquids, powders, whatever you really want. But it's a great multi-purpose, and I don't know, it's just a good brush. And I love Hourglass because they feel nice and heavy, because it's that whole metal handle type thing. It's great. The next one we're gonna do is the rest of them are technically kind of face brush, but let's break it down a little bit. So we'll do concealer and highlighter and stuff next. We're gonna do the MAC 132. The MAC 132 is a newer brush as well to me. It's a flat paddle brush, but it's also dual fiber, so you can use it with just about whatever you want. I love packing on highlighter with it. It just pushes it right up the cheekbone, and it does wonders. But you can also apply your whole face with it if you wanted to. So with this one, I like to do like liquid foundation, and then kind of dry it off, and then you can go in and do your like cream blush or a highlighter or anything like that. It's just a fantastic brush. It's also really good for under eye. It's a little bit big, but it still does the job if you wanted to use one brush for the whole face. What else is good for this? Yeah, highlighting, and you can even put on cream contour, like you've seen me do it 1,000 times with it. So just super versatile, and I love brushes where I get more use than just one application with it. Next for highlighters is going to be the Hourglass number 8. This is technically a concealer brush. but I feel like it's a little bit big for just a concealer brush. So I like to do it multi-purpose as well. So you can use it under the eye, you can use it to do blemishes if you want. I like to highlight with this one, and then also, since it is synthetic and it's their version of synthetic, you can also use it with powders. So like setting your cheek highlight with it, like precise, super, super pretty. Great brush as well. I just love the way that they feel. Again, they're just super heavy and they feel great in the hand. And I'm just someone that likes something that feels like robust and kind of like it's not gonna move out of your hand. Sometimes I feel like with other brushes, this is one of my favorites as well. So don't get me wrong, I still love it, but it's like a Real Techniques is just so light, which is great if you want, like if you're using it tons and you feel like you don't want to weigh your hand down, but I just like having things that feel like they're in my hand. But this is my next favorite concealer brush, the Real Technique setting brush. It's basically the same thing, same concept as the Hourglass. The Hourglass is flat cut though, so it's super, super skinny when you turn it to the side, versus the Real Techniques it's like crimped, but still fairly rounded the whole way around. So you can use this for setting powder. I love this for my under eye concealer. I did this one with for my concealer today. It's just perfect. It's like the perfect size, and the fluffiness of it is great for blending. I suppose you could even contour with this if you really, really wanted to, like a very defined contour. Tons of uses for this, tons of uses for really all these brushes. That's why I enjoy them, and that's why I have them all. The next is gonna be face stuff. We're gonna do foundation brushes first. My favorite brush is gonna be the 159. I use this for absolutely everything. If I ever did your makeup, it would literally be almost 100% this brush. I love it for liquids, creams, powders, and doing the entire face with one brush. Majority of the time when I'm doing my own makeup here, I literally just, when I'm not filming, I just use this. So I literally dip it into my foundation, buff away, wipe it off on a tissue, go in, blush, highlight, and then if I needed to set my foundation anywhere, wipe it off one more time and then just lightly set. It's just a great brush for that reason, because you don't have to dirty so many brushes. But yeah, the 159, great brush. And then the next one is gonna be basically its duplicate. I've talked about this before, but the Real Techniques contour brush, it's basically the same thing. It does have a different feel to it though. The plastic bristles are a little bit more stiff than the MAC ones. I feel like there's not quite as many of the plastic fibers in this. I guess the whole thing is plastic, but what can you do? But it's just a little bit more dense. So if I'm doing something that I need to blend, so if I am doing cream contour, cream highlight, and then buffing my foundation, I prefer this because you can really work product around the face. Versus this one, I feel it's a little bit softer, so it's a little bit easier to do kind of powders and creams and stuff like that, versus really getting in there and pushing it into the skin. Does it make sense? I hope so. The last thing is going to be powders. I guess this one counts as a foundation, but so the 188, it's basically the old school duo fiber, super long white bristles, and then the black ones at the bottom. It's just a statement brush. I use them all the time. Like this one's dirty, so I just use them, have a bunch of them, and I just feel like they're a great staple. You can use it for highlight, foundation, really just about anything, and there it goes. The last is gonna be powders. So powders, I'm gonna do the 168 brush, which is the Angled Contour. Angled Contour is a great brush. I have a bunch of these in my kit as well. So just going through the contours of the cheek, kind of pushing the bristles together to make it thin. Great for doing that, and then blending it out. I've actually been loving putting entire face makeup on with this. Foundation looks absolutely gorgeous, airbrushed finish when you do liquid and blend it in. It's just a great brush, super good. The last one is gonna be the Real Techniques blush brush. You've seen me use this a whole bunch. I just love the way that it's shaped. I love the way that you can lightly contour with it, and you can also use it to set your foundation. And I love bristles that are completely round around the whole brush. MAC has one that comes to a point, it's almost like this. And I love to take my powder and roll the brush into it and then roll it up my face, just so that way you get a very even application of the powder and it feels very smooth and velvety versus trying to buff it in, and sometimes that can pull up the liquid foundation underneath. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite brushes. It's a great brush and it's Real Techniques, so it's not super expensive. But yeah, those are all of my favorite brushes that I have at the moment. I always try to add more brushes into my collection because I love experiencing new things and definitely trying out different types of fibers as well. Most of the ones that I have are either goat hair or synthetic. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was a little bit more informative for some of you. I will talk to all of you soon, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.